Lillian Hart was sunshine in a small town. She was the kind of person who made you feel at home, even if you were just passing through. Her presence was a constant reminder of the goodness that still existed in the world. She had a way of making everyone feel special, like they were the most important person in the room. Her kindness knew no bounds, and her generosity was unmatched. Lillian was more than just a friendly face. She was the heart and soul of the community. Her smile could light up a room. It was the kind of smile that made you forget your worries, even if just for a moment. People would often say that Lillian's smile was like a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day. It had the power to lift spirits and brighten even the darkest of moods. Her smile was not just a physical expression, it was a reflection of her inner warmth and compassion. It was a smile that could melt the coldest of hearts and bring joy to those who needed it most. Her laughter was infectious. Everyone knew her, everyone loved her. Lillian had a way of making even the most mundane moments feel special. Her laughter was like music, a melody that brought people together. It was a sound that resonated through the town, a reminder of the simple joys in life. Her laughter was a gift, one that she shared freely with everyone she met. It was a testament to her zest for life and her ability to find joy in the little things. She volunteered at the local library, always eager to help children discover the magic of reading. Lillian believed that books had the power to change lives, and she wanted to share that belief with the next generation. She spent countless hours organizing events, reading to children, and helping them find books that sparked their imaginations. Her dedication to the library was just one of the many ways she gave back to the community. She was a mentor, a guide, and a friend to all who walked through those doors. She baked the best apple pie in the county, a recipe passed down through generations. Her kitchen was always filled with the comforting aroma of freshly baked goods. Lillian loved to share her culinary creations with her neighbors, often hosting gatherings where everyone could enjoy her delicious treats. Her apple pie was more than just a dessert. It was a symbol of her love and care for the people around her. It was a tradition that brought the community together, a reminder of the warmth and hospitality that defined Lillian's character. Lillian was a pillar of the community, a friend to all. She was always there to lend a helping hand, whether it was running errands for an elderly neighbor or organizing a fundraiser for a local cause. Her selflessness and dedication to others were evident in everything she did. Lillian's actions spoke louder than words, and her impact on the community was immeasurable. She was a source of strength and support, a beacon of hope in times of need. Her presence was a constant reminder of the power of kindness and the importance of community. So when she vanished, the town held its breath. The news of her disappearance spread like wildfire, leaving everyone in a state of shock and disbelief. It was as if the very heart of the town had been ripped out, leaving a gaping hole that could not be filled. The sense of loss was palpable, and the fear of the unknown loomed large. People gathered in small groups, whispering in hushed tones, trying to make sense of the situation. The uncertainty was overwhelming, and the town was plunged into a state of collective grief. The warmth of her presence was replaced by a chilling void. The once vibrant town now felt cold and empty, as if the very essence of life had been drained from it. The streets that were once filled with laughter and joy now echoed with silence. The absence of Lillian's light was a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the impact one person can have on an entire community. The town was left to grapple with the reality of her disappearance, each day feeling longer and more desolate than the last. Lillian's disappearance was not just a news story, it was a wound on the heart of the town. The headlines and missing person posters were constant reminders of the void she left behind. The search for answers became a collective mission, with everyone doing their part to find her. The community rallied together, driven by a shared sense of urgency and a deep desire to bring Lillian back home. The pain of her absence was felt by all, and the hope for her safe return became the driving force behind their efforts. How could someone so full of life simply vanish? The question haunted the minds of everyone who knew her. Lillian was a force of nature, a vibrant soul who brought so much joy and love into the world. The thought of her being gone was incomprehensible, a reality that no one wanted to accept. Her personal items left behind in her empty room were poignant reminders of the life she had lived and the impact she had made. The search for answers became a quest for closure, a way to make sense of the senseless. The question echoed through the streets, whispered in worried tones. Conversations were filled with speculation and concern, as people tried to piece together the puzzle of her disappearance. The uncertainty was a heavy burden, weighing on the hearts and minds of everyone in the town. The fear of the unknown was a constant companion, and the hope for her safe return was a fragile thread that held the community together. Each day brought new questions and few answers, leaving the town in a state of perpetual unease. The townspeople clung to hope, but fear gnawed at the edges. Where was Lillian Hart? Candlelight vigils were held, prayers were whispered, and the community came together in solidarity. The search for Lillian became a symbol of the town's resilience and determination. Despite the fear and uncertainty, the people refused to give up. They held on to the belief that Lillian would return, that the light she brought into their lives would shine once more. The question of her whereabouts remained unanswered, but the hope for her safe return continued to burn brightly in the hearts of all who knew her. The last confirmed sighting of Lillian was mundane, almost cruel in its normalcy. It was a typical Tuesday afternoon, the kind of day that blends into countless others, marked by routine and the humdrum of daily life. Lillian, a woman known for her vibrant personality and infectious laughter, was seen doing something as ordinary as grocery shopping. Security footage from the local grocery store showed her moving through the aisles with a sense of purpose. She was alone, navigating the familiar layout of the store, her movements deliberate and unhurried. She was picking out ingredients, her brow furrowed in concentration as she compared brands of pasta sauce. It was a small, almost insignificant moment, but it was one of the last glimpses anyone would have of her. She wore a bright yellow sundress, a stark contrast to the growing darkness that would soon engulf her. The dress was a favorite of hers, a symbol of her sunny disposition and love for life. The footage showed her paying for her groceries, her face illuminated by a fleeting smile as she chatted with the cashier. It was a brief interaction, but it captured her warmth and friendliness, traits that endeared her to everyone who knew her. She walked out of the store, her bright yellow dress disappearing into the crowded street. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows on the pavement. That was it. The last documented moment of Lillian Hart's life before the silence fell. The bustling street, filled with people going about their business, swallowed her up, and she vanished without a trace. The ordinary had turned extraordinary, and the mundane had become a mystery. Her disappearance left a void, a lingering question that haunted those who knew her. What happened to Lillian Hart? The search for answers would begin, but for now, all that remained was the memory of a woman in a yellow sundress, lost in the crowd. The first sign that something was wrong came in the form of text messages. Lillian's younger sister, Sarah, received a string of strange texts from Lillian's phone. The messages were unlike Lillian's usual upbeat tone. They were short, clipped, and filled with a chilling vagueness. "He knows. Can't stay here. Don't trust him." The messages were like shards of a shattered mirror, reflecting a terrifying but incomplete picture. Who was he? What did Lillian know? And why couldn't she stay? The messages were a desperate cry for help, lost in the vast digital ether. When the police arrived at Lillian's apartment, they were greeted by an unsettling sight. The building itself was unremarkable, a typical urban structure with a facade that blended into the cityscape. But as they approached her door, a sense of foreboding hung in the air, almost palpable. The officers exchanged uneasy glances, their instincts honed by years of experience telling them that something was off. The apartment was eerily clean, almost surgically so. Every surface gleamed, reflecting the harsh overhead lights. It was the kind of cleanliness that felt unnatural, as if someone had gone to great lengths to scrub away any trace of life. The living room, usually a space filled with personal touches and signs of daily living, was devoid of any such markers. It was as if the room had been frozen in time, untouched by human hands. There were no signs of a struggle, no forced entry, no disarray. The door had been locked from the inside, and there were no broken windows or disturbed furniture. It was as if Lillian had simply vanished into thin air, leaving behind a pristine, untouched space. The officers moved through the apartment methodically, their eyes scanning for any clue, any hint of what might have happened. But the more they looked, the more the emptiness of the place seemed to mock them. It was as if Lillian had meticulously erased herself from existence. Every photograph, every personal item that might have told a story about her life was gone. The walls, once adorned with pictures and mementos, were now bare. It was a chilling thought, the idea that someone could so completely remove themselves from their own life. The officers couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking through a ghost's home, a place that had been deliberately emptied of its soul. Yet the very sterility of the scene felt staged, unnatural. It was too perfect, too clean. It was as if someone had gone to great lengths to create a facade of normalcy, to hide whatever had truly happened here. The officers couldn't help but feel that they were being manipulated, that the scene had been carefully crafted to mislead them. It was a disturbing thought, one that added to the growing sense of unease that permeated the apartment. Essentials were missing: her toothbrush, her favorite coffee mug, the worn copy of Pride and Prejudice she always kept by her bed. These were the items that spoke of daily routines, of a life lived in this space. Their absence was glaring, a silent testament to the fact that something was very wrong. The officers noted each missing item, their minds racing to piece together the puzzle of Lillian's disappearance. It was as if she had taken only the bare essentials, leaving behind a shell of her former life. It was as if she had planned to leave, but then, what? The half-packed suitcase on the bed suggested a hasty departure, but there was no indication of where she might have gone. The closet, with its missing clothes, hinted at a journey, but to where? The officers were left with more questions than answers, their minds grappling with the possibilities. Had she left of her own accord, or had she been taken? The uncertainty was maddening, a constant reminder of how little they truly knew. The emptiness of the apartment was more unnerving than any mess could have been. It was a void, a space that seemed to echo with the absence of its occupant. The officers couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that the apartment itself was hiding secrets. Every corner, every shadow seemed to hold a mystery, a piece of the puzzle that they couldn't quite grasp. It was a place that felt both familiar and alien, a home that had been stripped of its essence. It whispered of a calculated disappearance, a chilling possibility that sent shivers down the spines of the investigating officers. The more they delved into the mystery, the more they realized how little they understood. The apartment was a riddle, a silent witness to whatever had transpired. And as they stood in that unnervingly clean space, they couldn't help but feel that they were on the brink of uncovering something truly disturbing. The air was thick with tension, the weight of the unknown pressing down on them. It was a moment that would stay with them, a haunting memory of a case that defied explanation.